Hey investor friends, I'm Michelle Markey and today I'm going to be talking with you about how to use credit cards like a boss and not get played by the credit card companies. This is where I do the playing by taking every possible advantage. And with credit cards, I feel like I'm dancing and waving my arms around in the Alps like Julie Andrews in The Sound of Music and singing in my head, "These are a few of my favorite things." And also in this overview of my credit card story, in which I'll be breaking down 5 key aspects of them in the why, the rules, bonus offers, redeeming rewards, and the breakup, or closing some of your cards and then living happily ever after. Since it's the holiday season, when I get credit card offers in the mail, it makes me think of the movie Love Actually, with the guy standing on the doorstep with cards that say things like get unlimited 1.5% cash back, or 0% on purchases or balance transfers for 12 months, or big time rewards, and 60,000 bonus miles or points. And these offers can be sweet like stocking stuffers or like lumps of coal if you've been naughty with them in terms of credit cards. Starting with the why, if you have the hope of achieving the American dream, or at least some of it, getting started early on what they call building credit and having a long and reliable credit history will set you up later in life for lower interest rates on things like a house or car loans. And if you're a teenager, something you could consider doing if your parents can trust you with a credit card is getting added as an authorized user to their existing card. And you could start out with something like a department store like Macy's, so hopefully you don't go too crazy with it. And as far as I know, some credit cards may not have age limits, or some start at 13, 15, or 16. So it's something to consider to get started early in building credit. And also, credit cards can offer more consumer protection benefits than do debit cards and cash, like providing purchase and fraud protection. And some cards offer travel related benefits like trip cancellation insurance or lost baggage or car rental, collision damage waivers. So all these kinds of benefits are things that you get with some of these credit cards, and which you wouldn't get with just using regular old cash. And not to mention the rewards, which is the best part, as long as you're responsible using the cards. It's more convenient to carry credit cards or load them on your phone, like using Apple Pay, than carrying around cash. And I like having at least 2 kinds of cards, one primarily for cash back on everyday purchases like groceries, gasoline, dining out, and also a travel rewards card, which can be used for flights, hotels, also dining out, and best of all, having 0 foreign transaction fees. So I especially enjoy that perk about a travel card. And other reasons why to have at least 2 cards is that in case one gets lost or one gets stolen and used in a fraudulent transaction, or also in case not all merchants accept your credit card. So if you have an American Express and a Visa, some merchants don't accept the Amex. And then maybe that's why it's good to have a MasterCard or a Discover. But I personally don't really think that a lot of merchants accept American Express and Discover as much as they accept Visa and MasterCard. So that's why I kind of stick with the latter two. Second, rules. Before we get into the joy of rewards, we gotta know and understand credit card rules, because using credit cards can be as fun as fireworks, or they can lead to your ruin. And it's important to understand what is a credit score, which can range from at minimum 300, which is extremely bad, to excellent at 850. And you generally want to be around the 800 range. That's the holy grail of being able to use credit cards and being able to be authorized for new credit cards, and also get access to low interest rates and any kind of loan you have, including the credit cards. And what goes into the credit score, which reflects how reliable you are to borrow money, includes important factors like having 0 late payments and the age of your oldest credit card. Like having 25 years or more would be considered excellent, and a lot of us are not there yet, so we're only able to be at good for now. And then how much of an available credit line you have. So the more you have, the better, because having small balances on your credit cards gives you a low utilization rate of that credit limit. So for example, if you have $1,000 on your credit cards that is a revolving balance on $100,000 of a credit line or limit, that's only a 1% utilization rate. So that's pretty good to keep it low. And having little to no hard inquiries in your credit history. So that means you won't want to open too many credit cards or loans within a similar time frame of each other, because that can make the credit card companies think that you're desperate, and they'll look into your credit history to see if they can really trust you to pay back all the money that you might be borrowing when you're opening a lot of accounts. And then also, you will not want to miss a payment, because that can severely impact your credit score to go down by a lot, not to mention the late fees and racked up interest charges that you'll incur when you miss a payment. So please don't do that. And then read and compare about different credit cards before you sign up to them. Like, I appreciate reading up on NerdWallet about the various pros and cons of credit cards, and then I go to the credit card website to officially sign up for them. And then also, for my personal rules of using credit cards, I always pay my balance in full every month within the 28 days of my credit card statement. So I use a spreadsheet to keep track of statement closing dates of my credit cards and when the balances are due, how much the balances are, and I make sure that I have a plan to pay off my credit cards in full every month. And also, I pay attention to annual fees with credit cards. So there's actually only one credit card that I use with annual fees. The others are zero annual fee cards. So that's pretty great to save some money. And then also, sometimes for the sake of getting perks from Starbucks or other shops that you like to go to, is okay to pay an annual fee up front. But for the most part, I'd rather not pay an annual fee up front. And a lot of cards have a zero fee for the first year, and then you get charged something like $95 for subsequent years. But as much as possible, I try to have low fees when it comes to cards, and I think that paying something like $550 a year is kind of ridiculous for cards unless you have a family or have a huge need to use credit cards on a lot of expenses. So I suggest it's a good idea to keep expenses low when it comes to credit card annual fees. Bonus and intro offers. It feels so nice weighing this heavy and shiny Chase Sapphire card. It almost makes me feel like I have a black Amex, except I don't. But playing the bonus and intro offer game can be exhilarating, like when you spend $500 in the first 3 months to get $200 in cash back, or with a travel rewards card, getting 60,000 bonus miles when you spend $4,000 in 3 months, which ends up leading to getting $600. So you have to weigh how much of a perk you get in what you spend versus what the reward is, and do some quick math to get to a point where you think it could be reasonable or not. So for example, spending $500 to get 200, that's like getting 40% cash back, which I think is pretty awesome. And in the case of the Chase Sapphire, you spend $4,000 to get essentially $600, which is what you get from the 60,000 bonus points. And that's about 15% cash back. Or you probably get a little bit more of a bonus if you redeem it for some travel or other kinds of rewards. And I like weighing these percentages to see if I think I'm really getting a good deal or if I should pass up on these intro or bonus offers. And other offers that can be useful are things like 0% APR if you have big balances, like paying for part of your student loans or getting a new mattress or paying for car insurance all at once. So if you're having big balances, it can be useful to put them on 0% credit cards, which helps you not have to pay the full balance right away. So a 0% APR card, which is the annual percentage rate, that can help you with paying down with the minimum amount every month. So you still have to pay the minimum each month towards a big balance, but over time, as long as you have a plan to pay down something that you put on a 0% APR card, it can be worth it. And also, if you have put a big balance on a credit card where you're spending something like 17% in interest rate charges, it can be useful to pay 3% or $5, whichever is greater, of your balance to transfer it onto a 0% card, as long as you pay it down. So you have to weigh what are the expenses you might entail in incurring a 0% card, but sometimes it can be worth it and sometimes you should pass. Other ways to take advantage is by adding authorized users like a family member to your credit card to get some extra bonus points or reward miles. And also, this is just a bonus idea, but I like paying utility bills with credit cards as much as possible, as long as they don't charge fees for it. And utility bills includes things like my water bill or internet and cell phone bills. All of those things don't currently charge fees, which I think is pretty awesome. So although that's not part of an intro offer in a credit card, it's a way to score some extra points. Number 4, or the fun part in redeeming rewards. So when it comes to cash back, I like staying disciplined and just straight up getting the cash back into my bank account so I can do whatever with it, whether it's paying off that same credit card or moving that money into a money market account while I wait to invest it. And then this is probably personal preference, but I prefer to have whatever amount of rewards points moved into cash as early as the statement close date will allow me. So I'd rather not have to wait around for something like American Express, where I have to gather a minimum of membership rewards points to add up to something like $25 before I can redeem it. And when I can redeem it, it's only towards a statement credit. It's not even like I can physically have the cash back. And also with many other cards like Capital One and Chase and others, you can get whatever amount of cash back to your bank account. So like even if it's a balance like $2.37, that can go straight back into your bank account. And other things that I like to think about when it comes to rewards is I'd rather not get gift cards, even if they try really hard to lure you into them with 10% bonus on the rewards points or using them for travel. I kind of feel like the options they give you it's based on Expedia in some of them, but it's kind of restrictive. I'd rather have all of my options available when I want to travel, and being able to use things like Airbnb or go to whatever hotel chain or other means of travel that I prefer. So I kind of don't opt for the extra bonus rewards that you could get in using something like Chase's Ultimate Rewards. But again, that's personal preference. And then when it comes to travel, I'm partial to the United Mileage Plus credit card because it happens to just be convenient for me, and it's part of the Star Alliance, which works for most of my traveling needs. And I especially enjoy this Mileage Plus credit card because I can get things like 2 miles per dollar spent on United flights and a free bag, which is a value of $35, and also perks like $100 credit towards global entry or TSA pre-check, and 2 lounge club passes where you get snacks and free Wi-Fi and newspapers, and also priority boarding group number 2, which is second best after those who are in premium or first and business class tickets or have premier status like silver, gold, platinum, and above. So with those perks, I think it's kind of awesome. And also, I've calculated that my miles are worth about 1.5 to 2 cents per mile that I've saved up. So if you have 100,000 miles, that's worth about $1,500 to $2,000. And it's best used when traveling, for example, coast to coast, in going from something like New York to San Francisco, and it's a round trip redeemed for 25,000 miles or 12,500 miles each way. And that trip, for example, is worth $700, which if you break it down to the miles, it's about 2.8 cents per mile. So that's a pretty good value, whereas it's a little bit less good value if you do a round trip ticket to Europe at 60,000 miles, and that ends up being, if the fare is worth about $600, down to a cent per mile. So sometimes you maximize your miles and other times it's kind of just okay. But either way, that's pretty cool, and it's another way to save up for when you're traveling. Number 5, the breakup or closing some cards that you don't need or don't want. And this is pretty easy. You can just call up the customer service 1-800 number in the back of your credit card, and it's as easy as telling them that you no longer want the card, and they'll probably try to tell you something to try to get you to stay. But if you really don't want it, then be firm and just say, I would like to close this card. But before you do, make sure that you transfer any available credit limit to another credit card if you have that with the same credit card provider, because it's useful to have a high available credit line, like I mentioned earlier, for the purposes of your credit score. And also for purposes of your credit worthiness and history, it's good to keep a credit card open for a long amount of time that ideally has 0 fees on it. So keep one card open for a long time if you can help it. But then also try to close any cards with high annual fees as soon as you can, and ideally before it's assessed to your account. But even if it has been, the customer service will usually allow you to close the credit card as long as you do it before the statement is due. And then you won't have to pay the annual fee on that particular credit card. Another thing to keep in mind is if you want to play this game, you can usually close a credit card and then wait some amount of time and then open that same card again if you want to get that mega bonus that it could be offering. But some of the fine print to pay attention to includes something like when credit cards say that you won't be eligible for the bonus if you've gotten this bonus in the last 24 months, and or some of them are getting a little craftier, like Chase Sapphire saying you can't get the bonus if you've had the card in the last 48 months now. It used to just be 24 months, but they've kind of upped the ante there. And then just keep in mind that that has nothing to do with when you close a credit card. So if you last got the bonus way early when you first opened the card, it doesn't matter when you actually closed it. You have to do the countdown from when you first got the bonus. So keep that in mind if you have to wait 2 to 4 years before you might go for that same credit card again to redeem that kind of mega bonus. And then remember to live happily ever after and enjoy an 800 plus credit score and make the most of using credit cards for all the rewards that they're worth. And if you enjoyed this video or learned something, please like and subscribe. And if you have questions, please leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to answer. And also share how your credit card experiences have been and how you own credit cards like a boss and make them work for you, not you work for them. Till next time.